for the introduction. Yuriv, absolutely amazing. Again, I'm Boris, yes. And yes, I've been very lucky to work with a large amount of extremely smart engineers and researchers, some of them from Google, that, as Yuriv said, we first built the very first commercial application of AI for code that scaled indeed to more than 100 million over less than 3 years. And it's still used in one of the very successful products for Sneak. Today I want to speak to you about something very simple, as Yuriv said. Just imagine you come up after the weekend and you see that your application fixed its own bugs. And that's pretty much a reality that we have today. There's no need for you to focus on firefighting, prioritizing those issues. The bugs are just gone, right? Allows you to kind of move forward and focus on what's important for product managers, which is build what the customers really need. So this is what we call the decade of self-healing applications. And it is here now, and today I want to talk to you about it. As product managers know, we've always been fighting the duality of our life, right? We have to kind of succeed in making customers successful, making sure they don't complain about the bugs that we have. So we have to push the engineering teams for those to get fixed. But we also have to build the next generation and the next version and features on the roadmap, kind of where the product will be in 1 year, what will really drive the growth of the product going forward. And this duality makes it impossible for us to actually fight this. I usually compare this for you're sailing on a small sailing boat that you have, right? You're plugging a bunch of leaking holes as you go, but your goal is to build a cruise ship out of it while you're in open waters. It is impossible to succeed in both. You kind of have to pick your fights, and that creates a lot of friction for product managers. So the cost of that is actually staggering, right? A survey from this year estimates that 57% of engineers' time is actually them stuck in a war room fixing and fighting production issues and bugs. And this is like half of their creative time purely gone. And the staggering fact for enterprises, right? The Fortune 2000 companies lose 400 billion every year on production incidents, right? And the worst part of it is that 92% of those already have a signal either in the logs or in tickets about this problem. So pretty much all of them could have been prevented. We just didn't have time, we overseen them, and that is really a pity, right? So pretty much we see this technology debt as an anchor dragging us across the ocean floor, not allowing us to reach the speed of the cruise ships that we actually want. And this is where we actually want to move forward. This is really what the decade of self-healing application does, right? Focusing on removing all of those issues with the latest innovations in AI technologies, plus the classical computer science algorithm that we already know and every developer uses to do their daily job. And ultimately, the elephant in the room is artificial intelligence, right? Actually, it's not in the room, it's in the world. And it's not an elephant, it's a considerably bigger animal, if you want to put it this way, right? And specifically what we're talking about is the AI for code. Actually, it was just mentioned at almost every single presentation we actually had today, right? Because this is the pillar and the tool that we use to build, support, and maintain our products right now and going forward. So what has AI for code really done over the past 2 years? I mean, we heard Google saying at the beginning, maybe that was like a year ago, 20% of our code is now AI generated. Now it's up to above 30, I believe. GitHub already showed data that 50% faster, or actually 55, I believe the latest data, developers are actually able to do their tasks 55% faster. There's many more details, they do more tasks, they create much more pull requests, etc., etc. But the cost of that is the other way around, right? The quality of the code and the application that we do is actually getting worse, right? So what is happening is those bugs are actually getting back into the backlog, ultimately delaying us from doing this. So in a way, we're getting faster speed of delivery of features, right? But then more bugs that we have to fix later. So from a product management perspective, we're getting the same KPIs, right? But we're getting much more stress, there's much more friction out there, and we're not really getting up there. So actually some studies have shown that less than 5% of the AI applications really actually drive proper ROI returns for the business, right? And the reason is exactly this. It kind of becomes a zero-sum game. So how do we fix that, right? And the ultimate goal is, as we said, self-healing applications. And how does that really work? So this is what I want to drive into next. It is a complex topic, right? It's clearly not easy. Everybody assumes it's super easy. It's like you throw a thin wrapper, LLMs will do all the work, but that's not really the case, right? You actually need a system that goes and understands and continuously monitors everything that is in your backlog, right? All types of issues, etc. Acts on it independently, do all the evaluation, the guardrails that we need, right? And ultimately produces a result that does not waste developer times, but actually helps them. And this is kind of the interesting part. So let's actually look into a little bit deeper right now. But think about it as a AI engineer that works the night shift, right? And autonomously, asynchronously produces results for the humans when they come in the morning. The first step that system will do, and it actually does already today, is detects and investigates the issue. So think about it, you're looking into logs, bugs, customer complaints, crashes, you name it. Any source of a problem that or observability of your system, you actually take into account. You correlate that, and the very first thing once you identify a problem is you're actually trying to reproduce it. This is what in development people call test-driven development. The first thing you do, you have to create a test that fails, which means you're able to reproduce the issue. It is the real problem, that's great. And then you actually try to build a solution for it, right? Again, system acts 24/7, fully autonomously, and the next steps after the problem was reproduced is to figure out a fix. Developers are pretty smart, usually they do it manually. And in the generative AI world, you have kind of a set of agents that produce multiple possible solutions that automatically get applied, and the main goal is to figure out which one of those solutions really fixes the problem. That's why you need a dedicated execution environment, you run it and you confirm, oops, the failing test is now gone, which is the most important piece and the first step of the process, right? Everything else gets dropped out. This is noise, hallucinations, partial solutions that usually humans have to deal with. With the autonomous systems, that's actually gone. And the final and the most crucial step in this is to be able to kind of validate that this fix is correct and it is not breaking anything else. Usually that's called regressions. I mean, we've seen examples where an AI agent comes in and say, okay, there is a security vulnerability, how do I fix it? I delete the function. There's no security vulnerability anymore, but the application doesn't work as expected. So that's why you need to have another set of verification steps, which is the most important piece, is to make sure that you're not breaking other pieces of the applications by making that fix, right? And the goal of this is, at the end, you have to have this structured step-by-step confirming that everything passes, and only then you can say, this is a problem that I can fix fully autonomously. If you cannot, you can give up, you can give it up to the humans, and they can figure out how to deal with it. So this is what we actually get. Be able to remove easily 50% of the backlog without having to have an engineer in the loop. Engineers just come in the morning, they see a solution, and they say, oh, that's actually pretty cool. I can actually push it forward. Just imagine as a product people what that actually does to us, right? Kind of, we don't have to do firefighting all the time that we save. We can focus it where? Understanding the customer, building the new features on the roadmap. Anyway, so I spoke a lot, right? And we've seen actually such hype things on YouTube. If you go in, almost everybody's claiming that they can do all this magic. I actually asked our chief product officers to create a 60 seconds video to highlight how it actually works, right? This is gonna be purely our own application that we actually run in production, right? It's gonna actually show how we did a single click. It comes in the morning, there was a production issue during the night, and it's actually a real one. And the autonomous agents picked up on it, reproduced it, created a fix, and it was ready for delivering production. Let's see if we'll be able to play it. Okay, maybe another click. Zack. No. Well, no luck. Okay, maybe I'm gonna ask the guys in the booth to play it. There's no audio. Maybe I can narrate.
Hi, this is Martin from LogicStar. LogicStar is a self-healing applications platform that gives you truly autonomous code agents that find, validate, and fix issues in your software before your team even wakes up. This is how it works for me. I receive a Slack notification where LogicStar tells me it's investigated and fixed a Sentry issue. I open up the pull request to find out it's bundled all the relevant bug context for me. It's found out the root cause and has successfully patched the bug. I get a repro script, some unit tests, and it has done some additional checks. I explore the web app to see that it's executed the test before and after the fix in a secure sandbox environment, in order to make sure everything truly works. This is where LogicStar is different because it gives you only real fixes backed by real test suite evidence, so you don't waste time on unvalidated hallucinations. You can easily make this work for you. Just connect your source control platform to LogicStar and show it where the bugs come from. Bug trackers, observability systems, or even team communication tools. LogicStar then sources and correlates bugs from all these systems. It works against your whole backlog and acts immediately when a new bug comes in.
I'll stop Martin here. If you want to actually see the full video, you can actually go to our website. I think he posted it there just recently. But pretty much what we saw is he came in the morning, he actually fixed the production, but single click, and he was able to actually the full solution. In this case, engineers did not have to sift through the logs. They did not have to investigate. They did not have to reproduce the issue or create the environment where they can reproduce the issue. And they did not have to write a single line of code, right? And the best part, the fix, as you saw, actually came with full test coverage. So there were new tests created to confirm that this bug does not happen again in the future. And he was able to actually merge it within minutes. Usually the first time people see that, they see it's a bit surreal, right? How is that really happening? I mean, it's one of those things we expect for it to be there. We don't know exactly when, but we haven't really seen it happening. So the great thing that's a reality already, right? And what this does, as we said, it's actually changing what project management actually looks like, right? What is it unlocks for us as a project managers? And I've listed just a couple of the points here. One of it is obviously we're getting considerably more features. Imagine if your backlog is pretty much halved or pretty much gone, we're claiming this developer productivity as free, and they can really focus without any distractions into actually the roadmap, the features that the customers has asked for, the product roadmap that the product management team has put in front of them. And we will know we will deliver large ROIs for our customers. And that's all happens obviously with the same team. That's the idea. We don't have to hire more staff, which usually has been the bottleneck in the world. Faster roadmaps and much broader roadmap, right? We can actually go much deeper into the features that we never had time for. That's usually absolutely great because this is really the small features. It's what actually wins you all the different corner of customers that have this weird integration, this kind of weird support thing that we couldn't done otherwise. By freeing up resources, we actually can actually go and actually chase them as well. And the biggest thing that the third point actually brings is the triage, right? We've always had to actually figure out, is that bug really important? Is that bug really real? Do we really have to fix it, right? I mean, a lot of times those decisions lead to the 92% that we highlighted before, leading later to production incidents, unfortunately. And we don't have to do that. Most of those bugs would actually have been healed autonomously much earlier in a proactive fashion, without actually having to raise and ask for more resources. And this makes customer happier, right? The immediate value is, okay, we fix more issue, but because this is a proactive work, that means then in the future, just a week from now, we have prevented a production incident. We have prevented a customer from complaining and sometimes even churning, which is extremely valuable for the organizations. The last piece is ability to focus and not having to do cleanup. I mean, for me, that's very important because ultimately it brings down the product managers back to the reason why we actually went into product management, to build great things, not to clean up broken things that somebody made by mistake just because they didn't have enough time. And that's really the idea. So we're focusing on great things. We're building a roadmap that are effective and can react to the customer needs extremely fast. And we can focus obviously on the vision that we have to build, not just what's happening right now in the short term. So with that said, to achieve that in this new world, product managers, as I said in the beginning, will have to change. So we do need some new skills. And actually some of the earlier talks today did mention that, right? And one of the first skills that I want to highlight is that the new role of the product manager is to be an architect of the future, obviously. They have to think about quality here and there, but they ultimately have to think about what drives the customer value? Like, what does the customer need, and where I have to deal with it, right? What is next? And not just what was breaking before and just this morning. These proactive strategies will drive considerably more features, as we said, considerably better workflow. And what that gives to the product managers as a secondary need is the ability to work not only with humans, as we do today. I think John said it in the keynote speech in the morning, that we have to trust humans and work with them, and I will not change that. But we'll also have to figure out how to work and trust with AI systems. A lot of people call them agents. I do believe that agents are much smaller, like we're talking about systems of agents that work together, right? You can have a single agent doing a small piece of the job, or a super agent or a system that actually does the job end-to-end, which is exactly what we're talking about here. And when you're working with such systems or agents in your team, you have to do two major things, right? You have to be able to do an oversight for them, give them the guardrails, evaluations that we actually spoken before, and understand how they work. So that's the important thing. And the secondary thing, you become a final reviewer. You have to approve what they do. Over time, I believe that will disappear as well. But today, even if you think about it, EU legislation barely allows that anyway. So we're actually becoming an architect saying, this is what we need, not exactly how we want it to be done, and we should be able to check if that was achieved by the autonomous systems. So when this becomes a reality, we've actually trained our product managers there. What does that really give us as a summary, right? We have a much cleaner sprint. Most bugs are resolved fully autonomously. That's great. So the secondary thing is we're actually able to work on things proactively, which means think about security issues, big and important problems that can actually break in production, including very small things, like those small paper cuts that kind of cause the production issues in the middle of the night and wake us up, right? All of those gone, right? So think about it, what you can do if all of this is gone. And then from a customer perspective, imagine all of their complaints, all of their issues, right? They're pretty much mostly gone. So the main thing that we are delivering for them is the features that they want, which actually drives their demand, engagement, and usage of our product higher, and considerably higher NPS scores, which is one of the core definitions that most organizations use, is do we have happy customers? Purely selfishly, right, as product managers, we should think about one thing, right? Are we able to sleep well during the night, right? Are we going to be woken up with the thousands of small issues that we know that observability systems are kind of firing every day, and one of them will break down? And hopefully, by running these systems, we'll actually be able to sleep much better, right? We'll not have to do firefighting. We'll be actually focusing on what it is. In a way, this is a renaissance of the product management guild by focusing on what we really care about, which is great. So that brings ultimately happiness to the teams, and not only to the product managers, but to the engineering teams, because it is a well-known fact that the number one thing developers hate is having to fix issues from the past and reviewing somebody else's code, which might be problematic. So with that said, we're clearly saying that the product managers will not disappear, right? They will still be there. They're just gonna be amplified with the ability of what we do, right? We're just amplifying the impact, not replacing anybody else, because it's the number one question everybody is afraid of, right? Are we gonna get kicked out of our jobs? And I firmly believe that we will not. We'll just be able to do considerably more with our current resources and time, and hopefully we'll be able to focus on the things that makes us excited and happy. Let's take 5 seconds, 10 seconds if you want, and ask us this question. What would your job look like and your product roadmap look like if you'd have actually enabled the self-healing applications for your team and application? Okay, I hope that you had some great ideas and you had at least gave you a smile or some happiness by thinking about it. I cannot give you your specific answer, right? That really depends on your team, on your product. But one of the main things that I see comes out for me that's kind of a generic is we are still operating a product that serves vast amount of customers. We still have the large engineering teams that we actually have today, right? But we are able to move at the speed and agility of an early stage startup, like 10 to 20 people, right? While you're running maybe with hundreds of developers, right? You're able to deliver lots of features fast. You can deliver new products, right? and you can actually quickly change things as you need because you don't have to deal with issues. That's really what I believe it's coming in. As I highlighted already earlier, the good night's sleep is not a bad thing that comes as part of it. Moving forward now, so we actually said that something big is already starting, right? I truly believe we're in this decade already, and in the coming years, almost everybody will move into the direction of using a self-healing applications within their teams. And the question is, for people in that room, pretty much, do you want to be left behind, or do you want to be one of the pioneers and start using this? I think we've seen those questions a lot today, and the best part is, as our CPO showed earlier, enabling such a system takes just a couple of seconds, right? The best part of this system is you don't have to think about the guardrails because you already have a human in the loop that's going to look at it, right? You don't have to think about the evaluation sets because we are delivering you end-to-end system from the very first step to the very end step. There's no integration problems. You're getting exactly the output that a human would have given you, a lot of time with even higher precision and the exact same quality. So think of it as you're hiring yet another engineer, just this one is built out of silicon, that delivers the exact same product and becomes your most trusted teammate that does the dirty work overnight. So I believe that that's coming very soon, and we're seeing it in a lot of teams, specifically in LogicStar, where Yuri already mentioned I co-founded. We're actually working with these forward-looking teams who have actually implemented this, and we have already seen a lot of non-believers being turned when they see that the system actually perfectly fixes an issue they actually had. With that said, I would love to offer everybody in the team, if you want, if you're interested in that vision, if you're forward-looking and thinking, you can contact me. We can have a 15-minute discussion. I'll share our understanding and what's happening in the industry and how that could be applicable to your teams, right? So in closing, I'll say this, like we finally have a chance to get rid of this balancing act, wasting time of fixing issues and trying to figure out how to build our future roadmaps. And we are able to chart a new course, right? A new way of product management, a new way of operating applications. And the only question for people here is do you want to be part of it or not? I don't think that we're going to have a choice over a couple of years. The question is, do you want to jump on it early on or later on? With that said, I'll take some questions, and I'll be here after that as well.